Hey guys, hope everything's going good. And in today's video, I'm going to be reacting to the trailer of a documentary by Mike Klumb titled The Sick Mind of EDP445. Now, the reason why I am reacting to the trailer of this documentary is because a few months back, I had actually made a documentary about EDP445 myself, in which I kind of go through his entire life story, because I just thought it was so interesting how this was a YouTuber who was one of the most popular YouTubers at the time. I mean, if you were in the sports community and you watched football as much as I did, you knew who this guy was, because he was just one of the most loudest fans ever, especially about the Eagles. And he would just swear like there was no tomorrow, to the point where if you watch that documentary, I basically had to bleep out every single swear word, because it was so much to where when I was editing that, I was just like, no, there's no way YouTube does not hit me with a age restriction or whatever. Like, I have to start bleeping this out because it's just so much swearing. But then, of course, as most people know, or as people who watched my documentary knows, but for the few of you that don't know about what happened, EDP ended up getting, he essentially got Chris Hansen, and he got basically busted for like trying to meet up with a minor. And when he met with that minor, he was like, oh, I was just there to pick up a cupcake. Just like one of the worst excuses ever. And he was completely shamed and essentially exiled from society and all that right there. And it was just so interesting, since when I made that video, it was about 5 years after the fact, and I wanted to kind of make a documentary about how everything played out, like just how his life has completely turned around, really because of one thing or not one thing, because if you know anything about EDP, you know that it wasn't just that one time, but just how his like sick perversion just kind of changed his life forever right there. I just wanted to make a documentary about that, and also what I suspect probably happened and why I think he's not in prison, because like, yeah, believe it or not, this guy's actually not in prison. And I heard about this documentary, and I heard about how it took 2 years to make this documentary. And I gotta tell you right now, when I watched the trailer for this documentary, just the trailer alone, I can tell it took 2 years to make this, because my goodness, the amount of work that went into this is crazy. But anyways, we're gonna react to the trailer, and no, I'm not gonna do it like how reaction channels do, where I'm gonna like be reacting and I'm probably gonna have it like the screen right here. Like, no, I'm gonna play just small clips of the trailer here and there and just kind of give you my thoughts about it. So here we go.
Sophie is how old? Before? And again, I have it right here. I know the answer, but I just need you to tell me the answer. How old is she? 13. 13, okay. And before we get into the messages, there was sexual content involved, yes or no? Right. And you said correct. Okay, all right.
So for more context on how exactly this meetup came about, a YouTuber at the time by the name of Cold Raven had basically became alerted about EDP's antics and all the things that he was doing, and he was trying to alert the YouTube community about what EDP was doing with minors and all that right there. But nobody was believing him, or like very few people were believing him. Like most of them were just like accusing him of like clout chasing, just looking for attention and all that right there. And Cold Raven decided to go to someone by the name of Chet Goldstein at the time, which Chet Goldstein is no longer on the internet anymore. He actually got banned from YouTube, but it wasn't for this, it was for other things that came out after this. But he went to a predator hunter by the name of Chet Goldstein to basically show them what EDP was doing, to basically like, hey, can you like take care of this? And Chet Goldstein, you know, actually managed to create a decoy account in which they actually fooled EDP, and the decoy account essentially made it very clear that they were, you know, they were underage, and EDP continued to still talk to them. But then at some point, EDP just went really down the rabbit hole, where he just started saying all this crazy stuff, and like he even sent pictures of his poop to who he thought was a underage girl. Like, it's like that's freaking wild to me right there. Like, that, I have never heard of anything like that, sending poop pictures to somebody. Like, that's freaking wild. But anyways, at some point they agreed to meet up, and of course when they met up in that Bakersfield parking lot, that's when they confronted him, and then that's when EDP gave his infamous line of, oh, I was just there to pick up a cupcake. Basically, he wants you to believe that he skipped all the bakeries in town to just go to that one parking lot to pick up a cupcake.
Well, I was coming out here to...
Glasses off.
That?
Go ahead.
Well, I was actually coming out here to pick up a cupcake and then go back home.
But yeah, when this meetup happened, they basically grilled them on everything. And when this video finally was released out onto YouTube, it went mega viral. Many people started talking about it. And yeah, within I think 24 to 48 hours, his channel was banned. His channel was completely banned off of YouTube. And not just his YouTube channel, it was his Facebook, his Instagram. And then he also had this one service where basically it's like somebody would pay you money to say something, and then you'll basically send a clip of you saying that whatever it is that they want you to say to that person right there. Like, I don't know, it's this really weird service. He got banned off of that as well. And like, yeah, all of this came from this one interaction because it finally showed that everything that was being alleged about EDP was correct. And one thing that's worth noting is that when EDP was confronted at this Bakersfield parking lot, he did not deny anything. And I think this was something that I had noted in the documentary that I made, is that he literally gave his lawyers nothing to work with. Like,
We have you talking to Sophie, correct? Yes or no?
Right.
Okay. Sophie is how old? Before, and again, I have it right here. I know the answer, but I just need you to tell me the answer. How old is she? Okay. And before we get into the messages, there was sexual content involved, yes or no?
Right.
And you sent.
Correct.
Okay, all right.
he gave them literally nothing to work with. He did not just like try to like deny it, say like, oh, I didn't do that, and then try to walk away fast and then like basically lawyer up and mean. Like, no, he just admitted to everything. He admitted to everything. He admitted to talking to the year-old girl. He admitted to wanting to go there to make out with that underage girl. He admitted to like talking to, I think he said 6 other people before, 6 other underage minors before. It was just crazy how this guy admitted to everything. But yeah, that opening audio is basically from that interaction, and it's just crazy still hearing that interaction 5 years later.
He sent me videos of him masturbating.
I would say EDP is completely innocent.
Building off of my last point about EDP admitting to everything that he did, there are actually people out there that still believe that EDP is completely innocent. And that kind of is crazy when, first of all, EDP actually just straight up admitted to everything. And then you couple on top of that all of the evidence that is there, like all of the like chat logs and text messages that show EDP, you know, talking to minors in just such inappropriate ways. And then you also couple that with the fact that they literally caught him going to the meetup location where he was going to meet up with an underage girl. And then not only that, the second sting operation that happened in 2023 with Gideon and Skeeter Jean, where they caught him again, but that one was different. So here's the thing. With the first one, that was a decoy that he was talking to. So it wasn't an actual underage girl or an underage boy that he was talking to. It was a decoy. And that's how a lot of these like predator sting operations go. Like that's how a lot of these, like for instance with Chris Hansen, when he does his sting operation, with the predators that they catch, it's not an actual underage girl or an underage boy that the predator is talking to. It's typically like an officer that's posing as a decoy. Like that's typically how it goes.
Well, tonight, intimacy is not on the menu. In fact, dinner is delayed. Sokol is late because he says his pipes sprung a leak.
Hello?
Hey, what's up?
He thinks he's calling Bailey to tell her he's late, but he's actually speaking to Lori from Tetrad in our virtual control room.
Did your plumber get there yet?
It's not. It's late.
However, with the sting operation that happened with Gideon and Skeeter Jean, that was an actual underage girl that he was talking to. He was sending nude photos of himself to an actual underage girl. So that one blows my mind that he actually hasn't been arrested for it. And that blows my mind that people will still defend him and still say that he's innocent and all that right there. And by the way, I have to bring this up because there was a comment that was left in my documentary video, and I completely left this out, but apparently there was actually a third sting operation that EDP was busted in. Now, I don't know too much about the details of that sting operation, about that third one, because like I said, I had no idea about that sting operation. I completely left it out. So I want to just highlight that comment and just say like, look, like, I'm sorry that I left that out, and I want to just highlight you and just like basically like give you props for like actually like bringing that to my attention. But yeah, I completely just left that out. And another thing that was mentioned about this documentary, I saw this in Penguinzo's video about this documentary, about the trailer, because apparently he said that he's actually seen the full documentary, because he actually does come out in the trailer, but I'm not gonna include him in this part because like I said, I can't play the whole trailer for copyright reasons. And apparently in his video, he said that he actually found out about other crimes that EDP committed that he didn't even know, which now I'm actually kind of curious. I'm kind of curious about what were the other crimes that he committed. And I'm like starting to wonder, like, man, am I gonna have to like update that documentary video? Like, I made it just like a couple months ago, and that took me like a month to make right there. It's like, am I got to update it again?
So what advice would I give to EDP445? You need to stop doing this documentary.
My advice to EDP445 is that you should just go to prison. Just go to prison, because towards the end of my video, I start to speculate that this guy, because of all the evidence that has accumulated against him and that clearly shows that he is a predator, this guy had to have made some type of deal with the devil where he probably knew that his like sexual perversions and all that right there was gonna come out and it was gonna be exposed to the world. So he probably, you know, struck up a deal with the devil and was like, hey, like I know this stuff's gonna come out at some point, but I don't want to go to prison. Like, can you strike me a deal? And apparently, yeah, the deal was, hey, you know what? It's gonna come out, but you won't go to prison. But then I say at the very end, you know, while he may not be in a literal prison, he is in a figurative prison, because like this guy literally gets chased down at every single location he goes to. Like basically he can't hold down any type of job because he is such a recognizable person to where there's just no way he's gonna be able to just like hide among the crowd or anything like that. And I kind of just started to like think to myself where I'm just like, at this point, going to prison is actually, it would actually be better for you, because at least at the very least you would have a roof over your head, you would have consistent food, and hey, you know what, when you finally do get out, you can at least finally say to people, hey, I did my time, I did my punishment, like now can you please just like accept that I did my punishment for my crime. Now granted, I'm not saying that like, oh, it's all good now and that we can all be buddies and things like that, but at least you can finally say that you did the time, that yeah, you accepted your punishment, you took accountability for it. Like you can at least say that. But until you actually go to prison, you can't say that. Like you actually just can't, because people are gonna forever remember that you basically are a predator. You basically are a predator, and yet you haven't gotten any type of punishment for it at all. So it's like, that's why I'm saying the best thing for EDP to do is just accept a prison sentence and just go to prison, because then at the very least, like I said, he won't have to worry about housing, he won't have to worry about food, and he can at least finally say that he did the time, he did his punishment, and that's it. Yeah.
Why do you think you wanted to have sex with a 13-year-old?
I mean, the reason why I wanted to have sex with a 13-year-old is already fucking clear.
So it seems like there's a little bit of accountability being taken by EDP. Like there's like at least a little bit, because back then he would completely dodge this situation. Like he would not do any interviews about this whole thing. Like, or if he did, it would be very softball interviews. Like there was this one instance where shortly after the whole cupcake incident, there was this interview that actually got him like on a stream, and that they started talking to him, to EDP.
Sources of your income, you feel me? You just been having a job and just doing TikTok?
Pretty much.
So like when you see like videos on you, like exposed videos, like does that shit like affect you?
No, I don't give a
You don't give a
I haven't seen not one video that has been made of me. You know what I mean? Because see, the issue with a lot of people is they say they don't give a shit, but they still go on Google, man, and they're searching up your name to see what people are saying about him.
This guy was just a complete amateur interviewer. He was just a complete amateur in the sense that he did not push back against EDP. And if anything, he actually essentially gave EDP a platform to essentially just spin off like whatever lies he wanted to say or anything like that. It was pretty crazy. So it's at least good to see EDP's taking some accountability, because again, if you saw the documentary that I made, you would know that EP also tried to say that this whole thing was staged, that this was supposed to be like the production of a movie, is what he was told.
He had his business card attached to the email.
Okay, and that was shortly after the movie, maybe next year or so. You put kind of 2 and 2 together, and everything aligned to this actually being an opportunity for you.
Correct. Yes.
Okay, so Chet emails you and tells you to meet him at the apartment complex. I'm sorry, maybe I'm not understanding.
Well, again, the original meetup spot was at the Rite Aid.
And there was also another video where he supposedly apologized, but he never actually addressed the situation or actually addressed what actually happened and what he was actually like found guilty of, essentially. So this is definitely different of EDP to actually do this documentary. In fact, I recall there was an instance where back when this very first happened, Chris Hansen actually tried to interview EDP445, but yet EDP said that he would only take the interview if he was paid like $19,000, which is just freaking crazy to think about. But yeah, so it is kind of crazy to see that EDP is finally actually like doing interviews like this. Is actually finally admitting what he was there to do, because even though he doesn't blatantly say what he was there to do, and even though, like I said in the and Chet Goldstein's video of EDP when he finally busted him in that parking lot, EDP basically made like, oh yeah, I was there to make out with a underage girl. At least right here now, he's actually admitting like, oh well, you know what I was there to do. So it's at least good to finally see that, I guess.
None of you can break my ass because I'm still standing, bitch.
And for our last clip here, there's a lot of things that are going on. Where one thing that I noticed was that it shows what is, I guess, supposed to be like a child version of EDP445, and I'm kind of curious to see what exactly that leads into, because I did talk briefly about EDP's childhood in my video, but it was like very brief, and it was like barely like bare bones things like, oh, he was born here, he went to school here, and all that stuff right there. Like, I'm curious if there were any like, I guess, situations inside the home that sometimes were not previewed to. And one thing that I did like find out that I think I probably should have made bigger emphasis on was that EDP was very close to his own mother. And for those of you that don't know, like, EDP mother did pass in, I think, was 2017, and that was actually a huge reason why people like basically they donated money to him so that then he could go to watch the Eagles in the Super Bowl, because that same season the Eagles ended up going to the Super Bowl and winning it. So his fans found a way to get him to the Super Bowl right there. And a lot of people often pointed to that as like the beginning of when he started to change. And I pointed this out. I said that, well, yes, I don't deny that losing such an important figure in your life can really have an impact on you. I don't think that should be used as like an excuse for everything that EDP did. And there's also like other things also happening here as well, where basically he's like, oh, you guys have done all this to me, yet I'm still standing. That kind of reminds me of his video response to Gideon, where if you don't remember, Gideon was basically having like a come to Jesus moment, where basically he said like, no, like, I'm not gonna prank people ever again because I realized that I was like ruining people's days when I was doing that. And EDP for some reason thought that Gideon was talking about him, so he made this whole video response, which is, to this day, it is the most vindictive and spiteful video I have ever seen, in the sense that this guy just does not want to take accountability for anything. Like, he does not believe he's done anything wrong, and I was just blown away by that video right there. And there's also been a lot of times where he's like mocked the whole situation as well. So like I said, I am curious for when this documentary finally comes out. And you know what? I'm thinking of probably also reviewing this documentary when it finally comes out. So yeah, stay tuned for that. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. And no, this wasn't one of the videos that I was talking about in my previous video, where it's like, oh, I'm working on like 3 big videos that are going to be much more in-depth and much more cohesive. Like, this isn't one of them right here. This was just a video that came to my attention, and I decided like, hey, let me react to this documentary, or at least the trailer for it, because if you saw in the ending clip right there, the documentary comes out on August 9th. It comes out on August 9th. And yeah, I'm definitely going to be excited when it comes out, especially when I found out that there's apparently other crimes that EDP has committed. So I'm definitely excited for that. And the reason why I'm reacting to this documentary is because to this day, the EDP documentary that I made is still the best doing video so far. So that's why I decided to do this as well. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, subscribe to this channel, share the video, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.